scents and flavors that make Johnson City a lovely place to live. I am super excited today because I've got my beautiful wife, Carly, with me. And this is her
Hello.
first time on the podcast.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited you're here. You're going to make it awesome.
Thanks.
And we're here with a friend of ours, Ben Holland.
Hey,
Hey, Ben.
hey,
Yeah.
How's
thanks
it
for having
going?
me on. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you sometimes hang out at a school, I hear. Is that
Yeah, I spend I spend a lot of hours over at a place called Providence Academy.
Providence Academy? I've never seen you there.
Yeah, well, it's
I don't know.
it's a small Christian school over there near the ridges.
Yes.
Yeah, over on Creek Road.
Yes, I joke. We see
We're
you
very
there every time
familiar,
we're there. Ben is there, and
Yes,
he
it's
is
kind of my job.
now. Okay, so tell Providence Academy.
Sure. Yeah, Providence Academy is a school Christian school. We're in, I think, our 27th, 28th year, somewhere in that time frame. So a medium age school. We're not brand new, but we're not like 150 years old either.
So for our listeners, classical. I mean, that you do read current information, or is it
Yeah.
only the classics?
I, I would say this. A lot of people, I always say classical. If you sum it up, it's a whole bunch of fancy words, but a whole lot of common sense.
Gotcha.
We want to teach kids how to think.
Right.
That's what it really boils down to. There's an idea of kids getting prepared, and you can prepare them in a few different ways. And if you go back in time, a long time ago, a few thousand years, they had two different types of education. There was a servile education that they gave to slaves, and they were like, "We need you to turn this wrench, chisel this stone, do this thing. Don't think about it, just do it. Produce for
Right.
society." And then there was an education for free people.
Yeah.
And those are the people that had to vote, that had to lead their organization, lead their church, lead their community, and to be voting citizens. And so they gave those people what's called a liberated education for free people. And so when we started Providence Academy, I wasn't a part of that, but when it started,
Right.
they were like, we want our kids to be able to think. We want them to think critically, not just be producers for society. And so what kind of education were they doing? Because I think that we can all agree that the educational system is kind of gotten a little bit sideways, maybe is not doing as well as we had hoped. And so our founders said, okay, what were they doing before all that got sideways? And so let's do that. So it has the term classical in it, but it's nothing new.
Right.
It's just
Right.
teaching kids how to think.
And it's Christ centered.
Absolutely. That's the critical part of the school. I always call that the lifeblood. And of course we have Bible classes, and there's going to be this the Bible is going to be a part of every single subject. We believe that God created all things. And when we study these subjects, we're looking for the fingerprints of God on every single subject. And so that makes the school really special. But I would say this too, that, if you, put a bunch of Bible verses on things and said, okay, here's how we're going to do it, you're going to end up what Jesus called whitewashed tombs. And I would say education is relational. It's not transactional. And God could have communicated the gospel the way he wanted, but he sent a person to live with us, to walk along with us. He poured out his blood, his sweat, his tears for us. And so that's how we try to communicate the gospel to the families that we partner with, is our teachers come alongside those kids. We're just living life together. And that's really what makes us a Christian school.
That's awesome.
So great. And we have Christian there. Our son Christian is there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
He loves it. And we just love that he's there. We wouldn't have him anywhere else.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yes.
Great kid. Fantastic kid.
Thank
And we're glad you
you.
don't call us on a regular basis
Yeah.
because it's
So
in your
glad.
office.
So
I don't think
glad.
he's ever been to my office, which that's a pretty, he's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty well.
I think he's pretty sneaky. Is the thing.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
there's always that kid.
Okay, so this is a Johnson City living podcast. You live in Johnson City. Did you grow up in Johnson City?
Born and raised in Johnson City, many generations of Johnson City in my family. So yeah, long time. Kelly, she was born in Johnson City. Her parents were born in Johnson City, et cetera, et cetera. So deep roots. I think grandparents were in the same Sunday school class together.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we both.
Kelly is your wife.
Kelly's
I'm
my wife.
assuming.
Yeah, if for those
Kelly.
listeners that don't know Kelly, you should. And
She's a
She's
good person.
awesome.
yeah,
We love her.
we got married in the same church that both of our families got married in.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, kind of
That's
a
so
cool.
special.
Yeah,
That's
deep,
awesome.
Deep roots here in Johnson City for sure.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
And you have a family, I think. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I got a
Yeah.
family. I got Rose, who's in second grade, and Tim, who's in kindergarten.
Okay.
Rose's 8th birthday is on Monday.
Okay.
Very excited about that.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Big A.
Yes, that's a good one.
So you went to school at ETSU as well?
Oh yeah, go Bucks.
Okay. And then tell us about the story. What did you get your degree in? Where?
Sure. So went all the way through here, Town Acres, Liberty Bell, Science Hill, ETSU, just like my parents, just like Kelly's
I think
parents.
I've seen a statue of you over somewhere in town.
There was like a huge mural of me in the admissions department for a long time.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
And so when kids from Providence would go to ETSU, they'd be like, "There's a giant." Yeah.
Come to ETSU and be like Ben.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was always funny and a little bit disturbing. But yeah, so went to ETSU, got my undergrad in education, and then I taught at Northside Elementary School
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
for a while, and then I got my master's degree in education administration from Liberty.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carly and I used to
Very
live a
cool.
block from Northside.
That's fine.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
So tell me about your transition from Northside to the Christian school
Yeah, absolutely. So
organizations.
I knew I wanted to be in education really from the time I started actually working out at Doe River Gorge.
Mhm.
I was a camp counselor out there, and I just saw the impact that you were able to have with children. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go into education, and I went all in. I read this book called Teach Like Your Hair's on Fire.
Mm.
And so I was teaching at Northside, and I don't know if you guys know a lot about Northside. It's a fantastic school.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's 90% minority, 100% free and reduced lunch. So
It's a
called-
Title I school.
It's a
right?
Title
What does
I
that
school.
mean?
So that's basically that.
It
That
means Title I.
yeah, it means Title I. It
Title
means,
I means
it
Title I.
means
It's not
Title I.
Title II.
It's based off of the socioeconomic
Right.
of the people
Makeup.
that it serves.
Gotcha.
That it serves that community. And
Yeah.
so I loved teaching there, and I did all kinds of crazy stuff. So I opened up school an hour early, and I would walk through the neighborhoods
Oh,
that
cool.
were there that my kids were living in, and I would pick them up
Oh, nice.
and
Oh,
walk them to
wow.
school. And we'd start school an hour early.
That's awesome.
And then I taught through lunch, and then I would teach school for maybe an hour or so after. And then I would walk them home and help them with their homework on their front porch. I had like camps, like when spring break or Christmas break or whatever, I had like science camp and math camp at the school. So
Wow.
I would open it up because a lot of those kids, they were deficient in their standardized testing.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
trying to get them the education that they needed to be able to get to that proficient or advanced section. So that was a big part of what I was doing. I was going all in. I mean, I was there every night till 11 o'clock at night, grading papers, preparing for the next
This was
lesson.
pre-Kelly and Tim and Rose.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it was. So Kelly and I were dating. Obviously, we actually started dating right after she was still in high school. It was her senior year, my freshman year of college.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But and she's like super supportive. She's like
Mhm.
super wife. She's the best. And so I was working through that, and I was really invested. And then I remember one day that there was a change. I was teaching in lunch, and I had a young lady that I was working with, and we were eating if you ever had school food, everyone ate school food at
I like the
Northside.
square or rectangular pizza.
Yeah, the
Rectangular
pizza.
pizzas are great days. The baked chicken days,
Not so good.
No.
not so great. It's a little got a little
No.
bit dry.
Well, I used to dip it in like my milk. Just to-
Yeah, just to
Oh,
get so
that's
it didn't
not-
pucker your lips when you ate it.
That sounds terrible.
So we're eating this really dry chicken, and she's like, "Mr. Holland, where did chickens come from?" Because if you were eating lunch with me, that means you were struggling with your reading. So we're working on reading. 3rd grade is what I taught, and I was like, "Oh, honey, I failed you. Eggs, chickens come from eggs all day." And then she took that a step further, and she's like, "Yeah, but who makes stuff?"
Oh,
She was
Oh,
asking a really fundamental question.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And I realized that I had joined maybe the only profession in the United States of America where it was illegal to share my faith.
Mm.
And I
Right.
was like, oh no, I maybe have made a mistake. And so, of course, I shared the gospel with her and walked her through that and told her she was loved and she was a son,
Mm.
that she was the daughter of a king,
Mhm.
and that he had a plan for her and all those things, and got to walk her through that. But I will say this, I'm a huge fan of public schools. I
Mhm.
think
Yeah.
some of the best missionaries I know are public school teachers, but I think you have to be uniquely called to that.
Yeah.
And I think at that
Right.
moment, God was like, hey, this is not what I'm calling you to.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm probably just going to go sell signs for my dad.
Because
You
your
know,
dad,
Yeah, he's the operations manager at Snyder Signs.
nice.
I was like, I sell signs, do that. If I need
Make
to
a
have
good
this
living.
conversation, it'll be great.
Yeah.
But my wife, she actually went to Providence, and I used to make fun of her. I used to call her homeschool And not that there's anything wrong with homeschool. I'm sure I'll get like blown up on the internet making fun
Here
of
we go.
homeschool.
We love
people.
homeschoolers.
There we
love-
go. Love you guys. Even if you button your polo all the way to the top, still love you. So
Jorts.
yeah. So I used to make fun of her because I just didn't have a paradigm for Christian education. I had no understanding of it. And so she was like, you just need to, she's like, I know you love teaching. I know you love working with these kids. Before you walk away from this career, I want you to just go take a tour, see what it's like. And so I went on a tour, and it blew me away. Like, to go into each classroom and hear the word of God on these kids' lips, and a joy that I had never seen before in a school setting.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, there's something different. And what I was really experiencing, I think that the presence of God was in the school and at Providence. And I was like, so I went into Jerry's office.
So Jerry Williams was ahead of school at that point.
Head of school at that
Hey, Jerry.
time.
He's a
Hey,
good
Jerry,
friend
if
of
you're
ours.
out
We love
there,
you.
We
Jerry
love you, Jerry.
served as my mentor for a long
Mhm.
time, and I didn't know him at all.
Yeah.
And I went into his office and I was like, listen, I've got to work here. I don't know what you need. You need a janitor, you need a lunch lady, you need whatever, but like, I need to be here.
Wow.
And so they kind of invented a position of dean of students for me. And so I started working at Providence at that time, and it was fantastic. I served as dean of students there for 5 years and loved it. I was cross country coach and got to invest in
Oh,
the
wow.
lives of these kids.
Was that when it was
and-
back over off of the Bristol Highway?
No, so they had changed over to our current campus by
Okay.
that time.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that was great. And then I went to I got a call. So Jerry set me up. He's always setting
He's
stuff up.
always working.
If you
in
know
the-
He's
Jerry,
a connector.
he is a
He
connector.
And a half.
Such a
Yes.
connector.
So he was like, hey, they're looking for a new head of school at this Christian school, classical Christian school in Morristown.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, good for them. And he was like, well, your interview is on Thursday. And I was like, I don't want to move to Morristown. Like, I have no, but I was like, I was 20.
He's like, I've prayed about this.
Yeah.
And
I was-
you're going.
You're going. I was 27 years old. I was like, okay, I'm way too young for this type of position. So
Yeah.
I'll go maybe get a free dinner and, some interview experience, meet some people. It'll
Kelly,
be
we're
great.
going on a date.
Yeah, basically. So I went over there. Long story short, they offered me the job, and we prayed about it, and we ended up over there. And it was a miraculous time. I got to see God's hand in a lot of things.
What was the name of that school?
It's called Lakeway,
Okay.
and we ended up building like a $70 million facility there.
Holy smokes.
And it was just some of the most miraculous things you've ever seen in your life happened there. And then one night, Jerry texted me at like 2 a.m. and he's like, hey, we need to get lunch. And I was like, Jerry, you don't have to text me at 2 a.m. to get lunch. But
That's
and-
when he does it.
yeah. And we went to this like hole in the wall place in Greenville where we were the only people under 85. Definitely.
Well, you were.
I was. Yeah. And he was like, hey, I'm thinking about making a transition. Would you want to come in and be the head of school at Providence? So I was like, oh, okay, I need to pray about that. And some family things were happening at that time. My family lives here, and so does Kelly. They both live at Dover Gorge on the campus. And so we're like, okay, we got young kids. Timing kind of seemed right. I was like, well, I need to pray about it. And I went home, and Kelly was like, well, I'll start packing and you can pray about it. And so we moved back here. I've been the head of school at Providence for 3 years now.
Feels like 3.
Yeah,
It's
It's flying by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it goes really fast. So in our 3rd year, it's been great. School has been growing and thriving, and lots of exciting things happening at Providence Academy.
Absolutely. We've been so happy. I mean, we do truly love Jerry, and he did a great job too. And honestly, we were a little nervous when the transition was happening, but you've done such a great job.
Oh,
Like,
thank
we could
you.
not be happier with how things are going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people that put the foundation of the school in place really did a lot of
Mhm.
work, and so the foundation was really solid to be able to walk into a school that's truly Christ-centered, that is academically excellent. Not a lot of people know that the average ACT score for last year's graduating class was 28.5, which you're going to have a hard time finding a stronger school really in the country when it
Yeah.
comes to the academic rigor that's there. But I would say any kid can be successful here, and it's the result of doing the right things over a long period of time. It's not like we just have nothing but geniuses. We just start when they're kindergarten. We're like, hey, we're going to have a high standard, but we're going to give you a high. I would say if you have a high level of standard,
Right.
you have to give a high level of support
Sure.
to
Right.
reach that standard.
So you're like a genius factory.
Right.
You don't start with geniuses.
No,
you just
no,
make
we,
'em.
we just made them. And really great kids, great families. Partnering with families is a big part of it. It's a, God gave. If you look at the Bible, you don't see a single school. If there was a school in the Bible, we would all change the name of our school and we'd be like, that's the name
That's
of our
right.
school.
Yeah.
Yes.
But God's two
Yes.
institutions are the church and the family. And so you can't, God gave that responsibility to educate children
Mhm.
to those institutions. And so our job as a school is to just come alongside those institutions, support them in what they're doing, give them all the resources that they need. And that partnership is really what's special about Providence and makes us so successful. I believe is putting that partnership first and not saying, well, we're the school experts, send your kid here and don't worry about what happens in these walls. And when they come home, they'll be educated.
Right.
It's actually reverse, saying,
Mhm.
hey, you guys are in charge. You're the driver's seat. No one knows your kid as well as you do.
Mhm.
And God
Right.
gave Kelly and I the ability to have 2 children,
Mhm.
not 560.
You're not the
Yeah.
Winsteads.
No. There's some homeschool families that would give a run for the money.
Yeah.
But he gave you the ability to have the children that you have and
Yes.
gave you that responsibility.
Yes.
And so that partnership's really important
Yeah.
for us.
Had Mike Marion on
awesome.
the call or the podcast last week, and he said you are the perfect parent at the perfect time, and your child is the perfect child for you. You know, the
Mhm.
Lord doesn't make any mistakes there. You know, and
Absolutely.
so I think I
Yeah.
said that's very comforting.
Yeah.
Because a
it
lot of
really
days I
is.
don't feel like the right parent at the right time.
No, man, Mike Marion,
True.
talk about somebody that has invested in
And
Johnson
kids,
City.
oh my gosh.
Coach. I love everybody. If you know him, you call him Coach.
Yes.
Coach.
And we serve on the board
Coach.
there together.
Yes.
And what a ministry
Mhm.
to this area. Now, when I was in college, I worked at Coalition for Kids with Randy Hensley,
Yeah.
which is similar.
I'm gonna try and get him
Yes.
on here too, Randy.
God,
Come on.
gotta have Randy.
Come on,
Yeah,
Randy.
It's
that'll
like,
be a fired up
my-
Friday for sure.
Woo!
Have to get some
Got
bigger.
bigger chairs. Yeah.
We'll just
Yeah.
make it work.
Man, Randy's great as well. But we were Johnson City. I think when you talk about living in Johnson City, I don't think that you can talk about living in Johnson City without mentioning those two organizations and the impact that they have made on making Johnson City really an incredible place to live.
I agree.
agree.
I agree.
Mhm.
What's one of your favorite things in Johnson City?
Man, that's tough.
Like living here.
I think that living in Johnson City, if you're out there and you're like, oh, should I move to Johnson City? What are the pros? I would think that one of the things is geographically,
Mhm.
it's very unique.
Mhm.
I love
Mhm.
doing like outdoor things. I'm an Eagle Scout. I was a raft guide, backpacking guide, all that kind of stuff. And the
Awesome.
fact that I can access all of those things within a 10-minute drive.
Mhm.
Right.
That if you want to go on a beautiful hike, there's like literally in Johnson City, there's Buffalo Mountain.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is, you don't find that anywhere else.
Mhm.
Even in Morristown, you would think, but in Morristown, you got to drive 50 minutes to an hour to get to anywhere that is accessible.
Mhm.
Where Johnson City, you've got Dover Gorge, you got Rocky Fork, you've got all these things.
There are
right-
1,000 trails. I mean, within a 20, 30 minutes.
And like my kids letting their bikes up on Tannery Knobs.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many
great.
things to access. Downtown has really come a long way.
Yes.
I remember when I was growing up, you only went downtown. I don't know if you were lost, but
Or you had to
now-
buy like fancy
Right.
pants or something. that
yeah,
took you
maybe you
down.
went to Massengill and your
Yes.
mom needed a new dress, and you'd have to
Right.
sit in there for 3 hours while she tried stuff on.
Yeah.
Right.
But the fact that downtown's now a place like when it's like date night, Kelly and I were like, we're going to go to downtown, and then we'll figure out where we're going to go from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
To have that type of then the new playgrounds and things like that are going up over there near Founders Park. I think that's going to be great. There's just so many things to do but you also get the benefit of a small town.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think that, you could still have these amenities maybe in a Knoxville,
Mhm.
but in a Knoxville, you're not known.
Right.
Like when I was trying to find here, you were like, okay, we're right above C.S. McCullough. So I walked into C.S. McCullough. I know Randy.
Yeah.
Randy was like, oh yeah,
Yes.
Colin's upstairs. It's like
Yes.
the fact that we can go into a restaurant, and I don't know half the restaurant when I walk in there.
Yeah.
I think that is a unique. That's a unique.
It's like
piece.
Cheers. Everywhere you go,
Yes.
everybody
Yeah.
knows your name.
And I think that it's a pretty. Not a whole lot of people leave Johnson City.
Mhm.
I think once you find it, I think when you grow up here, and some people might relate to this. You grow up here, you're just like, oh, I'm going to get out. I'm going to go somewhere. And then you go somewhere. I lived in Chattanooga for a little bit, and then you're like, wait a minute.
I want to go.
I want to go
like
back.
Johnson City better.
That was a really special place. It's got all the benefits of Asheville with none of the negatives.
Yeah.
and
Right.
most of the benefits of Knoxville with none of the negatives. ETSU, man, they've really come a long way.
Yes.
The football stadium's a great venue.
Unbelievable.
I think that there's a lot of great churches in the area.
Yes.
Choose from. You got Redstone and Grace.
We
and
love
Redeemer,
Redstone.
and
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout
a
out.
incredible faith community in
Mhm.
the area that's very active, and I think that that's another thing that makes that makes Johnson City a special place.
Now these are all really good things, but what I need to know is what's your favorite restaurant in town? Because I like
So
to
hard.
I like to
So
know where to go eat.
so it depends on the situation. I love Firehouse. There's
Mhm.
something like
We love
special about Firehouse. I think the
Yes.
service
Yeah.
is incredible. Of course, anybody that worked here in college, they called it Fired House.
Love it.
Because Tom
That's
Seaton runs a
awesome.
tight
He
ship.
does, and he's
Yes,
passing the torch to his
yes.
boy.
I know, and he's doing a fantastic job.
He is.
Yeah.
And
Love
so the
Justin.
Seatons run a great
They really
restaurant,
do.
and it's just there's something very uniquely Johnson City about Firehouse.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
barbecue.
Barbecue,
Firehouse.
Firehouse.
Okay.
Sushi, you got to go label.
Okay.
Like if it's
Yeah.
date night, Kelly, that's going to be her first.
Label. Yeah, we had Raphael on.
Okay.
I wasn't here for that, but Colin did a great job with him. And man, we learned so much about he has 10 restaurants in the Tri-Cities.
Wow.
And yeah,
And we love
just
sushi, and so that's a
we
good spot.
do.
I'm a huge
Yeah.
sushi fan.
So
Wednesdays, you
label's
can't beat
fantastic.
Wednesdays half off
Mhm.
sushi. Man, that's like they're basically giving it away.
I know where we're
So
going to eat
great.
tomorrow.
Right.
There
That's
you go.
right. Well, yeah.
And then Timber is a newer
Oh,
restaurant. I don't know if you've tried
We
that out.
haven't
we have
tried
not
Timber.
been to Timber.
It's got some weird stuff on the menu, and
Yeah.
usually I don't like. I'm not real into like hippie
Yeah.
food stuff.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised with the
Okay.
menu and enjoyed it.
We've
Well,
been
and
saying we need to
Leighton
go.
had Nathan Brand on this podcast, so it's back. I'll
Oh,
find the
okay.
episode number for you guys too. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
check
was.
that. Find in the
I
comments.
like
below.
just
Right,
yelling
yes.
timber, so I can't wait to go there.
You
But
kind of.
Timber-
Oh, okay.
It's got a cool ambiance. I would definitely say that's a eat in, not take out place because you got to
Right.
experience the restaurant because it's not like anywhere else you would go.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we definitely need to make some time to go there. We've heard good things about it.
yeah, I'm excited to check it out.
Okay. Did you tell me one time that you don't work out? Because I'm also because I like
No,
to eat. I am also interested in working
I
out.
do try to
So-
exercise.
Okay.
Exercise
believes in it.
is a vital part of my life.
Okay, I
so
don't know. Maybe that was someone else who told me that because I was like, "Well, that's surprising if that were you." But okay, tell us
Yeah, he
about
looks
your.
like he works out.
I mean,
So,
he does. So
yeah,
tell us
thank-
about your workout. What do you do to work out?
Yeah,
You
so I
say-
used to run a lot.
Okay.
And Kelly's an incredible runner. She's like
Kelly.
super talented. She runs all over the place.
She's just an athlete,
She's a
right?
great
Like,
athlete.
Tremendous athlete.
Yes. She like wins races.
Mhm.
So I got plantar fasciitis almost a year ago.
Oh,
So when the pandemic hit, I like upped my miles a lot because I was like stressed and trying to run a
Yes.
show and do all the stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start like every day. I ran like 6 miles after, and then my feet started to hurt. And then I've been, I don't want to say crippled, but it's almost been a year. And so I've had to like
You still battling it, or is it
oh
better?
yeah, still battling it. It's
oh,
terrible.
man.
And so I've had to adjust my exercise routine accordingly. We got a new strength coach, Aaron Lewis,
Oh, cool.
at the
Okay.
school, and so he put me on a program. So that's been a
Oh.
lot of fun. I'm getting ready to change today. So I just did like a 4-month program, and yeah, he's a magician when it comes to
Wow.
like getting you stronger. So I did that 4-month program, and now I'm getting ready to switch to a 3-month program.
Oh, cool.
That'll do. I don't know. I find it fascinating. I'm obviously not like a buff dude, but I find like when you work on your body and see the results and you see like how amazing God made our bodies to be able to adapt to different
Yes.
things,
Yes.
it's pretty fascinating. So I enjoy that aspect. I don't diet much. Kelly would laugh if you guys. So I'll sit down and eat
That's
a whole.
what
like,
it was.
I will eat a sleeve of Thin Mints and not like
Mhm.
think twice about it.
That's what it
It is Girl
was.
Scout
You
cookie
told me
time.
you don't have a good diet. That's exactly
But
what
my
it
diet
was.
is
Okay,
terrible.
that's right.
Like Kelly makes 2 different dinners. She makes her like self with like kale and arugula and like all
Right.
kinds of
And
weird
then-
things that I would not enjoy eating.
And here's a
and
hungry man dinner for
yeah,
you.
and then
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, yeah, here's like meatloaf, lasagna, you know.
Mashed
I like,
potatoes.
yeah, I like all the things that are
Gallon of gravy.
yeah, that gallon of gravy. There, so
Mm.
every Sunday we like have like so we always eat dinner together as a family. That's important for us. But sometimes I have events and things. But Sunday is like our special day, and we always eat. We have a Stouffer's lasagna because that's what I grew up on,
Oh,
and I
nice.
just
Yeah.
love it. And
They're
like
really
a
good.
salad, and then we watch a movie together as a family. and that's kind of like
Sunday.
you cannot schedule anything on
I
Sunday
love
night.
it.
That's awesome.
The kids always look forward
And
to it.
Saturdays
enjoy
you
it.
go to the Doe River,
Yes.
right?
Saturday we go to Doe River. So for Rose, for our 8th birthday, so about a year or two ago, Rose was like, "Dad, I really want a horse." And so I was like, "Okay,
You told me this.
I will fix this problem." I was like, "You can have a horse when you buy a horse, right?"
Oh,
So I was like, "That'll fix that," And then
Yeah.
She's 7.
yeah, she's 7. She's not going to be able because the horse is like $1,500. So she's the most determined person I know. She has a tenacity that is incredible. So she
She's like
starts.
somebody else we know on the microphone. right
Yeah,
now.
she starts doing these lemonade stands.
Oh,
And she starts going over to our neighbors and she starts picking up sticks and she's raking and she's 7 years old. And so she like with her little like flyers, she makes the flyers and
Yeah.
oh my
takes them around.
goodness.
So she saved up enough money to buy a horse. So that's what she's getting for her 8th birthday.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And so we'll
Oh.
keep it out at Doe River.
Yeah.
She's my new favorite person. That's incredible.
So here's my best Rose story. This like summarizes who Rose is. So she likes to run. She likes anything competition. She will compete with you on anything. And Kelly and I are both competitive with each other.
Yes.
So she came by it honest, but she entered this race called the Goliath. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
yeah, we know
At
about
the
it.
gorge.
So
Right.
there's like a kids race
Yes.
that was like a mile and a half with some obstacles or whatever, but it was like for grades or for ages like 7 through 11.
Mhm.
And there's like, maybe 200 kids in this race, 250. So she trained for it for like 3 months and she's like, I'm going to win this race. So this whole time I'm like, listen, like, let's set some realistic goals. Like, let's say like, let's try to run the whole way. Let's
Mhm.
whatever. So long story short, she wins. She gets 3rd place in the race and she gets the medal. She's like cheesing. I pull her down. I give her a big hug and she just says, don't ever doubt me again.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, so from then on, I just do not, like, if she says she's going to do something, I just
That's
don't doubt her.
Amazing.
You just can't. She is,
That's fantastic.
Wow.
she is just incredible when it comes to stuff like that. She just has a determination that is pretty fantastic.
Oh,
Well,
it's amazing. I
I
love
think,
that.
yeah, I think she does get that honestly from you.
And
'cause I-
Kelly. And
Yeah, Kelly.
And Kelly for sure.
because you said, all right, we're having a pandemic. We can't be in school.
Yes.
You were determined to like, how do I engage my kids? And then, so we have the night KNIGH
Mhm.
show,
Yeah.
GHT show.
Tell us about that.
Oh,
Tell us where
man.
that brainchild of that was. And that was a lot of fun.
So
That was insane. So like the pandemic hit about this time last year. So
Yeah.
I remember we were going into spring break and I had to make a decision on that Friday.
Mm.
Like, do I have the kids take their books with them or not?
Mhm.
And I made a bad call. I just said, leave your books. Like I was like, school's starting back. We're going to have school. It's going to be fine. 10 days to flatten the curve, whatever.
I'm with you. Very positive.
Yes.
It's not a big
Gonna
deal.
Yeah, not a big deal. We're going to
China's
be
a little
fine.
place. It's not like it's big.
So over spring break, it like, of course, we all remember it erupted. No one needs a recap on that. It's
Right.
not over yet.
What are
So,
we talking about?
and so that night I had like, I'm not like a dream person, or, it's not, I'm not,
Not a
there's
vision.
anything, but I was like, okay, I've got to do something for these kids. And so Kelly and I, everybody has hard times. We had a period of infertility in our life where we were just like, it was tough and we struggled.
Mm.
And so we watched we watched Jimmy Fallon pretty much every night. And that was just kind of like you don't have to worry about anything. You can just like lose yourself in his show before he got
Absolutely.
political. But it was just like, you could just watch it
And
it's-
laugh.
and you just
Yes.
laugh. And so every night we knew we were going to laugh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I was like, man, that was like really a service. And so I was like, okay, I think what the kids need now is the ability to have some sort of normalcy. They need to have a face that they're used to seeing,
Mhm.
and they need to have a schedule because kids thrive on a schedule.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, let's do like a show, like the night show.
Mhm.
So I called my buddy Jordy, and Jordy does like audio visual stuff. And he was like,
Videographer Jordy.
yeah,
Jordy,
and he did
Jordy
like
Wetzel, right?
Yeah, Jordy Wetzel.
He
Wetzel
did
Media.
a great job.
incredible. So I was like, hey man, I need you like full time. We're going to do this show.
Right.
And he was like, everybody I had just canceled because there's like no weddings, there's no things. Like he's like, so
Yeah.
I'm yours.
Yeah.
So we put
Like,
on
can I
this
get a
show
deal now?
every morning at 9 a.m. We launched. It was about a 45-minute show, and sometimes we would have up to 10,000 people watch this show,
Yeah,
which
that's
was
amazing.
which was amazing. So we had people all over the world
all over the world.
watching this show, and then there were puppets, and we did drawings, and we learned, and there was a Bible lesson, and there was a science lesson, and it was just like a fun.
Mr. Holland would do something silly. Like,
Every show always had like an opening, and we there were no it was me and Jordy and one other lady who did like the coordinating. There were no writers or anything. Like each morning I would wake up and we'd walk down and I'd be like, all right, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And I got to like relive
Yeah.
my child, anything I thought was cool.
Kelly, you feel like making cookies today?
Yeah.
We need something to
that
fill
was
in
fun.
today. Yeah.
Fill in space.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
the
it.
whole family, the kids got to be a part of the skits.
Yeah.
And because we had to eventually, we started at the school, but then we had to move to my basement.
Right.
Because of like the lockdown.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, we just moved one night after the show. We picked up the entire set and then we moved it into my basement and we set it up. We didn't miss a single day of the show.
No, it was
we
fantastic.
I think it was 37 straight episodes.
It was
It was-
amazing.
It's how we
Show.
set our day by the night show.
Yeah.
We really did.
Yeah.
And
People would
it's
be like, "Can you meet me?" Nope, can't get on
Mm-mm.
call.
No,
I
not
can't-
till like around
I
10.
can't show that
Yeah.
house until about 10 o'clock because I got the night show.
Yeah, COVID, and I got the night show.
But that's like consistency is so important for kids.
Yeah.
And that's why, honestly,
It was brilliant.
it was great, and that's why we kept Providence Academy open during this whole season, is because I know how important consistency is for kids. I know that fear can be really destructive in adults' lives,
Yes.
but fear in a kid's life can really take over. And so,
Mhm.
as a school, we were like, okay, we're not going to have a spirit of fear. We're going
Right.
to, we're going to be reasonable.
Mhm.
We're going to try to do things as safely as we can, but for the health of these kids, we're going to be open. We're going to do everything that we can to give them a Christ-centered education and partner with these families and give them as close to a sense of normalcy
Yeah.
as we possibly can. So the Lord blessed us, and we were able to. We haven't missed a single day of school this year because of the pandemic. Now we had a couple of snow days. A couple of them I missed, so my bad, everybody.
That's fine. Totally
and,
fine.
You're feeling the weatherman's blues.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Like when you're a kid, you're like, oh man, if I could call snow days, that would be the coolest. Kids, it is not the coolest.
No.
It is terrible.
And
I
you get up at
know.
like 2 a.m. You're checking road conditions. You
2
might go back
a.m.,
to
4 a.m.
sleep. Then you get up at 4 and check it again. Did I
Oh,
fall
yeah.
down when I was outside? No. Okay.
Yeah, and you're like, what's the temperature going to do? You're trying to
Yeah.
watch it
Yeah.
all, trying to make the best decisions that you can because you want to be open if you can. Because
Right.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of families that depend on you to be open.
Exactly,
And you don't want to let down the kids and not close.
Yeah,
So-
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. And
Half the people are always going to be mad at you.
gotta
Right.
yeah, half the any choice you make in that, half of the people are going to be mad.
Yeah.
Unless I love days when it's like you get dumped on snow 7
Mhm.
o'clock the night before.
Yes.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
just like snow day.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, absolutely, nobody's getting
Yes.
out.
No
You get to call
question.
it, and then you can just like stay home, sled, drink
Yes.
hot cocoa, and watch like Home Alone.
Can you
Do
sleep
the
in
best.
Can I sleep in?
Yeah.
I
like on a
think it depends.
Saturday?
So I've done a new thing. Speaking of health,
We
so
always are talking about health. Like I'm
couple-
always like,
Yes.
Ben, what are you
Yes.
working on? What are you doing?
you only
Absolutely.
get
And you and
one
I-
body.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
I plan on it. Our bodies are temporal.
Except when
Spirits
you pour
eternal.
gravy in it every day.
You gotta pour some gravy in there.
It needs a little bit of gravy.
But
here
I
and there.
took out. I did away with caffeine about 6 weeks ago,
Okay.
Okay.
and that completely. I Masterclass is like my favorite thing. If you guys don't have a subscription to Masterclass after Johnson City Living, it's probably one of the best things that you can
Amen,
Okay.
brother.
you can
Okay.
listen to. And I did one on sleep. And so he just did all the science of sleep because not that I was sleeping poorly, but
Right.
every now and then I'll do a thing where I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'll
Mhm.
stress for about an hour and a half and try to
Yes.
solve a bunch of problems that
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
unable to solve.
Mhm.
Right.
And then I
Like, because
maybe
you need to talk to other people, and you're like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna call. You could call Jerry. He'd be.
I
up.
could Jerry
Oh,
could text me, try to
will
get
always
lunch.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I've got to do some, and it was like I was starting to get to the point where I was struggling with my alarm. Like the alarm would go off, and I'd be like, because
Mhm.
usually I'm the kind of
Mhm.
person that like alarm goes off, and I'm like, let's get it.
Let's
It's
go.
today.
Yeah.
And I was really struggling. So I cut out caffeine and did a couple of different, like changed my light bulbs in my bedroom to like a lower wattage and like
Mhm.
watch
Yeah.
my screen time and all that kind of stuff. And so that's completely changed things. So like I've been waking up since then. It was like a terrible week and a half.
Well, give people like what kind of light bulb, like what wattage.
I just dropped my like the lights in my bedroom down to like 25.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, do you have blue light glasses?
I don't have blue light glasses, but I tried, like, once I'm done with the screen, then I just read like a regular paperback
okay.
book.
Gotcha.
So you have a certain time in the evening where you say no more screens.
Yeah, no more screens. And then we're like, I try to go to bed at like 9 and then read for a little bit and then I'm out and then that's it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's worked out
Good.
pretty
10
well.
o'clock,
Yeah,
you're asleep,
great.
10 o'clock, I'm asleep.
and you're up.
So I've been waking up before my alarm. So I've been waking up at like 5:45,
Yeah.
5:30 even on the weekends. Like this Sunday,
That's
I
what I
woke
was
up.
asking. Yeah.
Yeah, this Sunday I woke up at like 5:40, and I was like, all right, going to the gym. And so I went to the gym and got back before anybody woke up, and we got to go to church. And I was like, I didn't have to spend any of my day
Yeah.
on my
Right.
exercise routine.
Yeah.
So yeah, so even
That's
and that's
awesome.
an important part of the sleep cycle is trying to wake. Anyways, you guys are not listening to this podcast for sleep advice.
Well, I
Abs-
think
You want to live in
I-
Johnson City, not sleep in
we want.
Johnson City.
Well,
Maybe
you want it to be a good place.
A
in
good
Johnson City.
experience
Good
while
If you're
you're
experience.
here.
grumpy and all
Yeah.
worn out because you're not
Yeah.
sleeping well, you don't enjoy Johnson City.
You
Absolutely,
have
gotta
to feel good in your body to be able to experience all the things we have to offer here. All the
Absolutely.
hiking and biking and running and
Eating at
Yeah.
the label.
eating at the
sushi.
label, getting some gravy, doing
A
all
little
the things.
Bojangles gravy and biscuits. Go
Bojangles.
see the Triggs
Oh,
over
yeah.
there.
Got to see the Triggs. Got to
The
get a Bowberry
Triggs.
biscuit every now and then.
That's right.
You gotta
Every
live
now
a little.
and then.
Their Cajun filet chicken biscuit is just world class.
Yeah, we're
It
very
is.
blessed with the number of restaurants, the number of really great businesses.
Mhm.
In this pandemic, Johnson City's economy and ability to still be successful,
Mhm.
I think, is a testament to a lot of the business leaders in this area. A lot of our local government and state government. I feel like I want to commend them. They've done a fantastic job
They do,
navigating
yeah.
all the things that we need to navigate. And so I think that's been it's a special place. It's a
Mhm.
special place to live. If you haven't visited, come and visit. Give us a shot. Stay at the Carnegie.
Yeah.
Rent a cabin.
Yeah.
Experience everything that Johnson City has to offer because there's really a lot here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to look at some houses, call us. We'll show
Absolutely,
you the
yeah.
houses.
If you want a great
You want to
realtor,
move here forever.
you
we
know
would
it,
love,
it's
love to make
shocking
you here.
how few houses are for sale.
Yes, it is
know.
because we have tons of people coming from out of the area because they're
Yeah.
hearing about what a wonderful
How
place it
great.
is to live in. So
Yeah.
we're moving people here from Chicago, from Illinois, California. We've got people all over the map coming here. Texas. I talked to somebody a couple days ago, and so they see all the wonderful things about Johnson City, and they're
Yeah,
like,
we're
"We're going to
right.
make it here."
We're right on that point. I feel like there's a lot of places that really struggled. Like when I was in Morristown, you could tell there was a huge struggle because kids that grew up there moved out,
Right.
Oh yeah.
and then they didn't come back.
Yeah,
And
same.
so,
I've heard the same thing here. Like a lot, if you look at the demographic, people graduate from ETSU and then they leave because there's not any great jobs for them.
yeah.
And
And
so
so I think we're starting to turn that
I
corner.
believe so.
Yes, I do.
Where now, because the world has become much more mobile.
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden you can work from home.
That's what. Yeah,
And if you can
Right.
work from home, you want to be in a beautiful place.
yeah.
that
You can
is
look out the window,
Mhm.
look at the mountains, watch it
Mountains, you want-
snow.
the safety, even like the traffic is great
Oh,
here.
it's
It's like
so
you go to a
great.
big city and you live for a while
Right.
and you're like, oh my
Yes.
goodness, the traffic. Like I don't like I'm frustrated at traffic if I have to sit through a red light twice.
Yes,
It's
that's
so
what I tell
true.
everybody. I'm
Yes,
like,
it's
you-
so true.
yeah.
I
Uh,
got somewhere 5 minutes late, and I was like, "I'm sorry, guys. The light at State of Franklin and Sunset. I had to sit there for two rounds.
2 rounds and
And
that
it
drives
was
you
like,
nuts.
what is wrong with this
Yeah.
picture? This does not
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, you can
And
get to anywhere in Johnson City in
It's-
15 minutes.
Yes.
So yes, it's so
And so it has
incredible.
that ability to be able to be anywhere you want to be.
Mhm.
And I think the job markets are totally changing.
Yeah, and so I think
Yeah.
if you're thinking about bringing a business here, we have an amazing workforce, and we have a ton of
Mhm.
kids coming out of ETSU that would be you'd be blessed to have them in your organization. And
Yeah.
I mean, so
You've
I would-
you've got Northeast
Yep.
that has some
Right.
trained technical workers, and is it TCAT? What's the name of that? There's like a training facility for skilled labor. So
Yeah, I
we're
know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm
I don't
not
know the
sure what
name
it's
of it.
called.
doing a great job there. We have a lot of college educated kids because you've got Milligan, you've got King,
King
you've
up the
got
hill, yep.
ETSU, you've got all these Tusculum, you have all these colleges within 15 minutes of here. So you've got a really well trained workforce.
Yeah. Sure.
And then you've got a reasonable cost of living.
Yeah.
I think is
I agree.
key as well.
And they don't want to leave if they don't have to.
No.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like even the tuition at Providence is, if you compared it to a tuition of a equal caliber school in like a Knoxville,
Yes.
we're going to be half
Yes.
We're
of what you're
thankful
going to
for
see
that.
there.
We're
Thank
so
you.
thankful for
Yeah.
that has not gone unnoticed
Yeah,
in the
Yes.
Johnson household.
Try to keep that tuition low, but we also have a great
However,
scholarship
right, I was
program.
going to say,
Right,
however, if you
right.
can't afford it,
Yeah,
we
something
can
were
make
to
that
happen.
happen.
We just we've raised $400,000 for our
Wow.
scholarship program this year.
This year.
And so
And it
all
happens
that
every year. It's
every
amazing.
single year. Mark Kosak, my hat goes off to him. He's my development
Yes.
And
director.
we're praying your eye gets better, Mark.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's better. He's back at
Oh,
work.
good.
He had
Oh,
emergency eye
good.
surgery the other night
So good.
at our right before our big banquet, which was a huge success. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Yeah. Ken Ham was
Absolutely.
Ken
fantastic.
Ham, he was great. Walked through all the things about creation and what
Mhm.
God's done. But to be able to raise those dollars so that we can have any family that wants their kid to get a Christ-centered education, they have that ability because those funds are available.
Yeah.
So we very rarely have to turn someone down because they can't afford it,
So
and that's
great.
a real blessing. And all that's privately raised, so we don't take government funds.
Mhm.
So that way we don't have to answer to government mandates.
Yeah.
And so we get to make decisions. What's best for the parents? What
Right.
do our parents really want? We're not even standardized test score driven.
Yeah.
You know, our kids show up, we take a standardized test, and we score in the 90th percentile in pretty much every subject and every grade level.
Mhm.
So we're going to be the best performing school in the area. But our kids show up on a Tuesday, and we're like, hey, do your best. Like,
Right.
my teachers I don't evaluate my teachers based off of their performance on that. I evaluate them on, are they doing the best with the resources they have? Are they
Mhm.
loving these kids as if Christ loves them?
Yeah.
Are they partnering with the families well? And are we being good stewards of the resources we have? If you're doing all those things, test scores are going to do this because there's all kinds of outside factors that come into that. But if you're doing those things and you're doing them over a long period of time, the results are going to come.
Yeah. And we feel that. We've had teachers
Absolutely.
pull us aside and, say, we are really, praying for Christian this year and really wanting him to learn how to, whatever the topic was that he was struggling with a little bit. And, yeah, it's just great. I mean, you've got an unbelievable staff.
I think so too.
Oh, the teachers are, and really that was a cool part about this pandemic. So when we were the only ones in the area open, so it felt like we were stepping out on a limb, but I
Yeah.
felt convicted that it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I went to my teachers and I said, listen, I will pay you. None of you will be fired. Everyone will be paying their job. You do not have to come to school to teach. And every single one of them came.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that just showed that, they're not doing this for, we try to pay them well, but they're not doing this for the money.
Right.
They're doing this because they love the kids and they have a deep conviction to serve them. So they all learned how to Zoom, how to do this online
They got
school
mobile
thing.
really quick.
Because we were the only ones doing the dual.
Right.
Yes.
And so
you can go today if you want to go online. You can. Christian's online today.
Christian's online today.
But yesterday was in class.
Yeah.
And so
you
tomorrow
have
you'll go in.
that flexibility, and we were the only ones doing it. So all my teachers had to learn how to do that in like a week and a half of in-service. And
Wow.
they did it and they figured it out. And of course we had some bumps along the way.
Sure, yeah.
But for the most part it's gone really well.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the whole
they're
spirit
incredible.
of the body there, I mean, just loves each other and serves one another, and they're working as a collective team to really make sure the education's top notch. And
Yeah.
so you can feel that. You can feel they're loving each other and the kids well. It is a special place, and the Lord is just continuing to bless it over and over and over. And we just we're thankful for it for sure.
They've got a lot of job security. I think that there was probably a time a couple of years ago where we were like, oh yeah, schools may eventually go virtual.
Right.
And I think that we have learned that you cannot beat in-person instruction.
Yeah.
It just cannot be replicated.
I'd say we've picked up some kids too because we're in
we have
class.
grown so much. So when I started, 2.5 years ago, we had about 425, 430 kids, somewhere in that area. This next year, we're going to have probably 560.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So a lot of growth. We're like at the point where most grades are really kind of full.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
but you said you'd never turn anybody away.
I
heard that.
No, there's quite
Context.
a context. There's quite a
He's gonna
few,
have like a little brood just following him. Like,
so yeah,
I'll teach you all.
we're getting a little bit cramped. So Lord willing, we'll start building some things.
Yeah, I was going to say we got big.
Yeah.
I keep saying
Plans.
we as in
Yeah,
Providence. I
you
feel
are
like
we.
a part. I feel like a
Yeah.
part of it. But
You are.
yes, you guys have big plans to build onto the campus. And,
Yeah, Lord willing, we got a board meeting this next month where we'll kind of start talking about those things. It's not great form to do a capital campaign in the middle of a pandemic,
Right.
But when you're saying, okay, the Lord is sending the students,
Mhm.
we have a responsibility to try to get as many kids in the Johnson City area a Christ-centered education as possible.
Amen.
And that's another
Yeah.
cool thing about living in Johnson City. There's not a lot of schools like Providence Academy,
Nope.
and
Right.
definitely not a lot of schools like Providence Academy in a town the size of our town.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so that's a unique opportunity. I mean, you can play on probably the best basketball team in the region.
Mhm.
That's controversial. But
Yeah.
you could play on the best baseball team in the region. You can
Mhm.
get some of the best coaching. We got Jeff Reed as our baseball coach. He won the World Series.
Yeah.
Caught a perfect game.
Yeah.
Damon Johnson is doing an incredible job with our boys and girls basketball program. We played
Love
Oak
that.
Hill last week.
Yeah.
Incredible game. They're really playing at a high level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Our boys need a shout out, don't they? Aren't they doing really well?
They had an
Our
incredible
boys
season.
basketball.
Yeah, boys
varsity?
basketball, varsity basketball had an incredible season this year. We were able to do a lot of things, and I think we're only going to be better next year.
Yeah.
We're losing a
Awesome.
couple of seniors that we're going to miss. We're going to miss you, Chris, and Toby and Bryce, but
Yeah.
we got a lot of great talent coming
Starting to
up.
build a dynasty.
A lot of, and our girls basketball team is getting ready to really take another step.
Okay.
Taylor Price has been doing great. We brought in Jaden. We got a couple other girls coming in. We got some of these younger girls like Bella Caldwell, or
Mhm.
just really developing. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be exciting to
That's
see.
fun.
And I always say, I like to call it not our athletic program, but our athletic ministry.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what we're doing. We're ministering to these kids, and you can do that as a coach on a court or on a field. In some ways that a teacher can't access, and then those coaches get to have you for year in, year out.
Mhm.
And if you ever get to go to a Damon Johnson basketball practice, I encourage you, because you will leave encouraged.
Yeah.
You'll be like, man, it was just, he holds them to a high standard.
Yeah.
But man, the truth that he's speaking into those kids on a daily basis, day in, day out, through wins, through losses, is things that they're going to take with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, we're fans of Damon.
Oh yeah, big
Yeah,
time.
he does a great job.
Yeah, he's fired up.
Awesome.
So, what fires you up? Because we got a little fired up Friday. Woo!
Fired up Friday. Okay, yeah. So what fires? I mean,
What are you fired up about right now, Ben?
right now I'm fired up about the kids at the school.
Yeah.
We got a lot of exciting things happening. When you think of the school, what fires me up is we've got, of course, the Christ Center and the classical piece. The Christ Center is first. But our academic program, I get fired up about it. We got a lot of exciting things
You've
coming.
done a lot of great stuff to there.
Yeah.
Thank you for less homework and multiple different tracks.
Yeah, we got, we got AP biology, AP chemistry, all kinds of college. You can graduate from Providence Academy with up to 35 hours of college credit.
That's amazing.
So incredible.
You're like into your sophomore year at that point. Or for you, that would have been like junior.
I don't know that I got 35 hours the whole time.
They finally were just like, you paid us enough money. Here's your papers.
Yeah, honorary degree.
Yeah, to be able to, I'm fired up about that. Our arts program, excited. We got Little Women is the play that we're doing this
When is
year.
that coming up?
That is
April or?
that's this Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, it's soon.
It
Okay.
is right now. So you can come and check that out. I'm fired up about that and what all the things that our arts are doing. We got a new percussion ensemble that's doing great. Reverend Vincent Dial.
Yes.
Speaking of living in Johnson City, you gotta know Vincent Dial.
We need to put him on here.
Absolutely. I'm making a note right now. We need
He is a man.
You've got to have him on.
Yes.
And then I'm fired up about our athletics. Softball starting for the first time. So that's great. We've got boys soccer, girls soccer, baseball,
Cross country,
track,
golf.
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 God, you can't forget golf. So I'm fired up about all those things, and just to see the kids being ministered to and caring for each other in those three different arenas that the school provides. That's what gets me going each and every day.
Since you eat so horribly, you're probably going to be an expert at this.
Okay.
What is your favorite donut in the area?
All right, because that's about to come up.
Man, so that's a tough one. So when the hot now sign is on.
Oh, see, that's me.
You're making a hard right.
It is, yeah. But if the hot now sign is on, I'm not really interested.
Oh, you don't like them?
Like if it's hot now, I'm like, I'll take it or leave it.
You don't want cold and crispy.
No.
Okay.
No, it needs to be hot now. So that's a big one. Daylight Donuts. I don't know if you've ever been there, but
Mhm.
if you like a really big donut,
Okay.
Okay.
they've got a really
Yeah.
they're solid, and they used to
And they're local.
they're local, and they
Good.
used to give all their donuts at the end of the day. They're fresh because all the donuts that don't get purchased, they used to give to Coalition for Kids.
Ah,
Oh, that's
Uh,
wonderful. I
that
didn't
is
know
wonderful.
that.
Yeah. So when I worked there, I would eat daylight donuts like pretty much. And if you can eat something every day and you don't get sick of it after like 3 years, that it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the daylight donuts are solid. That's a solid donut. I'm not a huge Dunkin' fan.
Yeah.
I like
I'm not
the
a big cake fan. but-
jelly. I like the jelly filled
Okay.
Okay.
powdered sugar one.
We like the manager special. It's chocolate covered with like ice inside.
Okay.
That's my favorite at Dunkin'.
Chocolate. So like
Christian,
a
I've
Boston
eaten-
cream situation.
Sort of. It's
Sort
not
of
cream, but
like,
it's more of
but
an
it's-
icing inside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's so good.
Manager
Reason
special.
we're talking donuts is because we're getting ready to do. Did you see our coffee challenge that we had where people
did.
sent in different
Yeah.
coffees and we tested them all and we came up with a winner. So we're about to do that for donuts.
Was
Mhm.
open doors in that
So-
conversation?
Do you know no
Oddly,
one
it wasn't.
sent in anything. Our
What?
open doors people
know.
in the community did not get it together and send in any.
I
My
even kicked
kids-
it off there.
My kids love the sweet cream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like the
That's a
sweet
good one.
cream. It is
Yeah,
a good one.
that's
Yeah.
a
I like
good one
just
for
their
your
plain
kids.
latte. Yeah.
Solid. You got it. If you're going to Johnson City, if you're new here,
Come to open
check
doors.
out Open Doors. It's
Absolutely.
just down the street from me.
Yeah.
So it's like one of
Yeah.
the we
Dan
used to
will
like
meet you
ride our
there.
bikes.
He'll buy a cup of
We
coffee.
love open
I
doors.
will support you buying a cup of coffee.
Right.
And Coach Marion
Yes.
is part of that, and they support Rise Up, and so
Yes.
they're a. I'm sure you talked to him about that when he was on there.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah,
Yes.
check out some. They should do donuts.
We should get them into that.
Yeah,
get
they have
them into
those
that.
waffles that you can eat like
They're-
one a
oh,
year
Those
because
waffles are
there's
so good.
so much sugar in them. But
They're
I mean,
so delicious.
some
though.
people love them. Some people eat
Mm.
them. I would think you'd be one of those people who'd eat them every week.
Absolutely.
They could
You're
probably
like,
even
yes.
put gravy on it.
Yeah, a little
Some
gravy on there. They do have like a gravy bacon one.
Mm.
Oh
Gotta try that one
man,
out.
that's crazy. Well, my last question for you though is, so I ask you about food and I ask you about working out, but I'm also interested in, apart from the master class, which you already mentioned, what are you reading, listening to, or watching right now that you would say definitely this is great and you need to?
Oh man. Okay, so right now I love to read. I'm usually reading like 4 books at a time.
Okay,
I just got an Audible subscription
yeah, so great.
a couple months ago, so that's opened up a whole new a whole new deal. So I'm reading A Cold Dish. It's like a western.
Mm.
It's what the Longmire series is based off of.
Oh,
I don't know if you watch
yeah.
Longmire, also a great show. So it's he's a sheriff. It's like
Yeah.
I like to have like a mindless read.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm also I've read it, but now I'm listening to it. Atlas Shrugged. I don't know if you're a big so.
Oh yeah, we saw that.
I think that the economic philosophy there I find fascinating. And so
Haven't read
if you haven't read it, it's like super thick.
So listen to it
Yes.
on Audible.
Yeah, it's like that's like a 52-hour listen, but
Mm.
it's
It's
like
worth it.
It's an
when
investment.
when you leave the book, you're going to be like, it's going to change the way that you think about things. The premise is all of the main producers of the world go on strike. Instead of their employees go on strike, they say, okay, fine, we'll all go on strike, and then you kind of see the repercussions of that
Oh,
in an
wow.
economic system.
Nice.
So fascinating read. Check it out if you get a chance. What am I watching? Oh man. So like what are we like we're in between shows. Like we don't
Mhm.
have anything
Yeah.
right now. We're
Right.
just like, what are we gonna watch? So we just end up watching like a rerun of The Office.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
It's like-
perfect. I was gonna say we're probably just too embarrassed to say what we're watching right now.
What are we watching? What did we watch last night, Carly?
So we got a little hooked on The Bachelor. We're not
Okay,
Bachelor
Just
watchers.
a little hooked.
A little hook.
Listen, we heard that the Bachelor was like a pretty great guy, so we were like, let's just check him out on this first episode. Well, if that
Then-
doesn't work,
Then you're hooked.
we have to stick around and see what happens. And so, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Well,
We're-
and we were
hey, listen,
pre-
we're real
impressed with it.
people when we watch
Yes.
Bachelor. So,
Bachelor. Did
but
you watch Queen's Gambit?
oh
Yes,
yes,
that was
now
fantastic.
that was
Fantastic.
so good.
That was a great show.
So I didn't want it to end.
My wife, we watched the first episode of Virgin River, and I was like, this is a Hallmark movie.
We watched the same. I
Yeah,
did the same.
same.
I was like,
it's not
I was
Christmas.
like,
we can't watch.
Yeah, I was
this.
saying,
Yeah, I couldn't even.
she's gonna open up a bakery. They're gonna fall in love.
Right.
You know,
I need
whatever.
a little
Puppy.
more excitement, and I like some things that have some twists and turns. Like that's what the kind of thing I like.
Gotta have a good like thriller
Yeah.
happening. We're watching. So my kids were reading the Harry Potters.
Oh yeah.
And then once we read the Harry Potter, then we watch the movie.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So this Sunday's night was Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets, and now we're reading. So every night as a family, we get together and we just snuggle up and read a book.
Nice.
And so right now we're doing Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh wow. They
It's a good
get
one.
darker as
They
go
do get a little
on.
bit I think I'll have to stop at Goblet of Fire and then wait for them to get a little bit older,
Maybe.
and then then we can resume once
Is
they're
that one
Okay.
before or after Empire Strikes Back?
That's
Oh my goodness.
it's right
Okay.
after.
We'll talk later.
It's a
Yeah.
prequel or
I'll explain
It's a
something,
it.
isn't
prequel.
there?
I'll explain it
Prequel.
to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
Well-
cool. Those are good. Those are good
Do
recommendations.
you want to grill
Thanks
Ben
for-
anymore? You want to?
No, I think I can be finished grilling him. You have anything?
Thank
else?
you for letting the school run amok for an hour and coming and hanging out with
Yeah.
us and just allowing us to interview you a little bit and learn about you and what you love about Johnson City. And thank you for watching over our child personally, but over the other 560 of them. And yeah, just we're praying for you, and we know that you're going to just continue to do wonderful things and at Providence and in Johnson City and making it a better place to live. So thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
you.
Thanks for having me
It's
on.
been
Thanks
so
for
fun.
thanks for trusting the school with your kid each day.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for answering the phone when I called to see if you come on.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I do it to you all the time.
Yes.
So turnabout was fair play.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you being my friend, and so
Yeah.
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 Well, we love you and Kelly, and we're excited for what's going on. And yeah, and so everybody, if you want to learn more about Providence Academy, there'll be a link on the Johnson City Living website, and yeah, and then you can get a hold of Ben. Shona Hoover at the school will give you a tour
Absolutely.
and show you all the fabulous things about it. And
Amber LaFawn's doing tours now too. We just brought her
nice.
on
she's
this,
great
That's
too.
awesome.
Yeah,
And
I
so
love her.
we would love to show you the campus and the vision of what it's going to be.
New website launches tomorrow.
Ooh,
So
awesome.
that'll be a
Oh,
whole new fresh
fantastic.
look. Jordy
I'm
worked up for
excited
us.
about that.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. And it's Providence dot
.com.
academy.com.
Don't go to .org.
Don't go to .org.
It's
Your
like,
kid
it's
will
a
be in
great school.
Texas or something.
Yeah, great school in Texas.
Yeah.
But you won't find it
It's a
here.
long commute.
So yeah, it's a long commute. If you go on and it's blue and gold, you know you're at the .org.
right.
If it's burgundy and gold,
Burgundy and gold.
you know that you're at the one here in
That's
Johnson
right.
City.
ProvidenceAcademy.com.
.com.
All right. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thanks,
Good to see
Thanks,
you.
Ben.
guys.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for